how long was it after the revolution that they changed the country name? And what was the sentiment when they did change the country name from Czechoslovakia to the Czech Republic?
The country split in 1993. So I mean, we Czechs are just so inefficient in doing things. Oh, I don't know. I mean, we really do things in a strange way. So at first, I mean, we had arguments over many things about the title of the country. I mean, we had arguments. I was fortunate I was in the United States when that was happening. I was looking at it from a distance. So we were like Czechoslovakia first, but then the Slovaks said, well, but we come second in the title, you know, and at Czechoslovakia is like we're not represented enough because we are at the second part of the word. So they were thinking, the parliament said, okay, let's have a hyphen. Because if we have a hyphen, it is like the right and the left part. It is not like the first and the second. Hyphen makes everything like split in halves. So the Slovaks said, okay, yeah, let's have a hyphen. It was like several months negotiation in the parliament. So we had a hyphen, Czechoslovakia. Then the Slovaks said, oh, well, can we have like Czech and Slovak Republic? It's better to have a, you know, and than a hyphen, because then we would have the capital S. Because Czechoslovakia is capital C, but small s, lowercase. So we said, okay, let's have Czech and Slovak Federative Republic, because we were a federation. So we had that. And finally Slovaks said, well, why don't we have like two countries at the same time? And the thing is, I think there was mostly politicians though. I mean, I think there is still quite a strong sentiment among the older generation for or against the breakup of the country. There was still a lot of people believe, and I'm one of them. I was born in Czechoslovakia. I was not born in Czech Republic. I was a Czechoslovak citizen. I'm Czechoslovak. And I still feel like that, and every time I cross the border between Czech Republic and Slovakia, I feel weird, because that was my country, not because I would want to own it. It was like, in my heart, I spent a lot of time as a child in Slovakia. I loved Slovak beautiful mountains, but that was a political decision made for mostly political reasons and economic reasons. And because people didn't want to deal with, you know, the new changes in the national budget. I don't even know what was that. I was in the States, as I said. But by the time I came home, I mean, the country was about to split up. So it took about 3 years before we fell apart peacefully. And still now both countries are members of the European Union, so it doesn't amount to much, you know, having two different countries. But the Slovaks really needed their national integrity, finally. They always took Czechs as the older brothers who would always be telling them what to do. And they wanted to have their own life, their own nation for some time. They had it for 5 or 6 years. Yeah.
I'm wondering the opposite direction. Czechoslovakia was really, you're talking about being split in two, but originally it was brought together from 3 entities, wasn't it? Moravia, Bohemia, and Slovakia. So how many people, and particularly in the older generation, still long for the old days when they were Bohemians or Moravians?
I'm from Moravia. I'm Moravian. I think that is very much, it was an issue for a while. It was an issue for a while, and there were still people who strongly believe or feel Moravians, and there are some rumors about, you know, the national budget not being, you know, distributed evenly, and Prague getting, you know, bigger tier. But I think that every country has that. There is not such a strong sentiment for political split up, especially now being a member of the European Union doesn't amount to much. It is basically the way you feel about the part of the country. And I have to admit, when I'm outside of Czech Republic, I refer to myself as a Czech, not as a Moravian. But at home, I still feel the difference. I'm from Moravia, because I'm especially from southern Moravia, as I said, conservative and kind of religious, and I have the roots in Moravia. And sometimes when I go to Bohemia, I have a hard time understanding some of their kind of dialect or some of the words. But just the words, not that I would understand the Czechs, and I do. But I grew up closer to Slovakia than the Bohemia, so the spirit of the Slovak nation is closer to me than the spirit of the rather westernized Bohemians. My heart is more to the east, to the Slovakia, the moody, drinking and plunging into the night, staring in front of you, thinking, oh, life is so mysterious. That's me. So people do have probably, but it's probably everywhere. When I go here in the States, in the north and the south, there's a different spirit, I think, in different parts of the United States. And sometimes people see America as one society, in a sense, politically it is, but I think that there are different moods, different atmospheres in different parts of the country, and still it is one country.
You've said a couple times just about the freedoms and about like a spiritual freedom. What would you say, like how is the faith of the Czech people affected post-Velvet Revolution versus before? Would you say there's like a change at all in people's beliefs or their belief structures?
You mean belief, you don't believe like the religious beliefs?
Yeah.
Or you mean religious beliefs? I think that, I said it several times in my classes, the Czechs are quite a non-religious nation. I think that we have almost like elected the most non-religious nation in Europe. But there has been a revival of the religious sentiment, quite a big one by the Czech standards. By any other country's standards, not too much, but by Czech standards, quite a bit. But it's recently, and I think it's been very much tainted by the Catholic Church, especially because of the property. The communists has confiscated a lot of almost all the Catholic Church and all the churches, all the religion orders. The church has been taken the property away from, and they're now asking for it to be given back. And it alienates a lot of people because they say, it's after the revolution you haven't done too much of a spiritual mission, but what you are doing now is like economic mission. I mean, you want to have all the palaces, all the land that you owned before 1945, sometime going to the beginning of the 20th century. You want it all back, and but the spirituality is not in the nation, so that they would say, oh yeah, you need it. People think, okay, there are not that many churchgoers. Why would you need all those monasteries, all those churches and everything? And so the more the Catholic Church, especially Catholic Church, is pressing towards the return of the property, the more it alienates the common Czechs. They've always been shaky with their beliefs, but now they see them as more as money mongers rather than spiritual leaders of the society. But all in all, definitely the religion has come back because it's been stifled by the communists, and then especially in the regions, like I said, the southern Moravia, which is a very religious part, they would go to church, and there would be much more spiritual movement in certain parts of the country. Okay, I know it's getting late. Maybe Catherine should finally put an end to it. You started it, so you probably should finish it. Finish. I thought so.